Welcome back to Phonics in Action. Now in this session we splash into the Anglo Saxon words. But first some history. Anglo Saxon words are what we now know as Old English. It was the language of the Anglo Saxons and was the main language in the period 500 through to 1066. Anglo-Saxon language has been a great survivor. It survived as the language of the people despite the French invasion of 1066 and their dominance for hundreds of years. Like in 1600, 94% of words in the very famous King James Bible came from Anglo-Saxon. And in Shakespeare's plays, 90% of the words were Old English words. I mean, we still use Old English words, Anglo-Saxon words, very much in our writing. Studies suggest that they make up 70% of the words that we read in text. They are the backbone of English. Now, as for a definition, when the Anglo-Saxons wanted to create new words, let's define how they did that. They had two methods. The first way was to combine two real words and make a new word. And the second way was to add a prefix or a suffix or both to them. So let's look at two ways to make words in Anglo-Saxon. The first way the Anglo-Saxons used was compounding. They joined two real words to make a new word like this one. For example, into, without, roadway, fish bowl, rainbow. I mean, these were compound words. I mean, compound words are very common in modern English. They're everywhere in students' lives, like in computer games like Goosebumps, Cuphead, Minecraft, or they can be blended words like Brainiversity, Zoombini, and they're the names of superheroes like Ant-Boy, Spider-Man, Buttercup, Gasman, Shout Out, Supergirl, and Powerpuff Girls. I mean, the second way of making words, the Anglo-Saxons, what they did was they used prefixes and suffixes. So a prefix was at the start of the word and a suffix was at the end of the word. The prefixes and suffixes that they used are nowadays very common. Their prefixes included un, as in unlike, be, as in behind, and they took prepositions in their language and used them as prefixes. For example, under, as in undertake, out, as in outlast, by, as in bypass, over, as in overcome, for, forgive, with, withhold. And they used suffixes to change the grammatical form. For example, they used ly at the end of words, as in slowly. And for the past tense, they used ed, as in pitted. And the present tense ending, ing, like walking. The comparison er, they used that for like words like better. And they also used the plural sign s, as in ships, and spelt es, as in peaches. Yeah, they use suffixes to change the meaning sometimes, like the able, able, as in likable, and ful, full, as in careful, hood, hood, as in likelihood, and less, less, as in luckless, and ship, as in friendship. Yeah, the Anglo-Saxon affixes like ed and s and ing, they're basic. I mean, we teach those very early on in the phonics program. So as for diagnostics, how do you know if students need to know about Anglo-Saxon word structure? Well, it's best to check. I mean, check their decoding of simple CVC compounds like sun hat and cobweb, and simple affixes like dogs, going, jumped. And when you do teach about the structure, what can go wrong? Well, nothing can go wrong. I mean, the only thing to watch out for is not to go too fast. Before teaching these structures, check that students know the 26 letter sounds. When students are secure with the 26 letter sounds and they can read all sorts of CVC words, then, move to compound words and words with simple affixes like ing, the s, and the ed. Another possible speed bump is the occasional tricky word. For example, father looks like a compound word, fat and her, to a beginner, but it's not a compound word because the th has the th sound. On the other side of the coin, the ph in a word like shepherd, it might seem to the student to have a f sound like shepherd, but shepherd really is a compound word combining sheep and herd. I mean, these are just minor things to watch for when you're selecting words. Here's a sample mini lesson on compound words. Hello everybody. Today we are looking at how to make longer words by joining two real words together. Now, if we flash back in history, 1500 years ago, tribes from Europe, including the Angles and Saxons, they invaded England and they conquered the people there, and their language became what we now call English. It's quite easy to make a compound word, the words that they made. And shall we try making up some, like imaginary Anglo Saxon words? Let's look at these words. They're not real, but they are two words joined together. And so let's think about what they might mean. What about this word? Dog box. Yeah, it could mean where a dog sleeps. And here, how about this word? Duck net. Well, a net to catch ducks. And this word, hat van. Well, a van that carries hats. What about this one? Cat cup. Well, a cup to put milk in. Sick bag. Well, a bag to use when you feel ill. Jam jug. Well, a jug to hold jam. Fox hut. A house for a fox. Yes, frog. A frog who talks. Rat rug. Well, a rug for rats. I mean, they're all compound words, two real words joined together. Of course, the ones we made are not real words at the moment. We just made them up to show how you can make compound words. And we made them the same way that they made words in Old English. We joined two real words together. Here are some compound words in this chart, so I'll read them to you. And these are real words. Here's the first list. Sun hat, granddad, sandpit, popcorn, ping pong, backyard. And in this list, we've got catfish, sunset, raincoat, moonlight, gumboot, toothbrush. Yeah, so shall we review what we did today? Yep, we made some compound words. We put two real words together to make new words. Now, it's important when you're reading to use your X-ray vision to see those meaningful parts in longer words. Well done. Right, here's another sample lesson on how the Anglo-Saxons used prefixes and suffixes. Here we go. Hi everybody. The Anglo-Saxons changed the meanings of words by adding prefixes and suffixes. Well, let's look at this chart. It has some suffixes from Anglo-Saxon. I'll read them to you. Here's the first list. It's got their ing words. Do you know what ing means? Yeah, it means doing something right now. I mean, here are the words. Going, doing that right now. Having, painting. And here's the second list. These words have got ed. Do you know what ed means at the end of a word? Yes, it means happened in the past. So look at these words. They all happened in the past. Snapped, dropped, joked, dreamed. And look at this list. All these words end in s. And do you know what that means? Well, s means more than one. So here we are. Trees, drains, homes, numbers, all more than one. And in this list, they all end in ly. And ly tells us how we did something. Like here we go. Sadly, how we feel sadly, quickly, neatly, how we did something neatly, brightly. Well, I've made up a story and it's got words from the chart in it, and I'll read it to you. See if you can spot those endings. Oh no, I dropped the painting. I dreamed of trees snapping brightly and trains going quickly. Okay, so shall we review what we did today? Well, we read words that had some old English prefixes and suffixes. And a hot tip to use is that you use your X-ray vision to look inside the words like these, to see the parts, to look for meaningful parts inside the word. And that'll help you to figure out longer words and know what they mean. Well done. So we've come to the end of this one. The conclusion is, great job. We have covered the structure of Anglo Saxon words. The Anglo Saxons used two strategies to make new words or to change them slightly. They used compounding and affixation. These two strategies are very much still part of English writing. We've got many compound words in English. We're devising new ones all the time. For example, Facebook, that's a compound word. Instagram and podcast, they're kind of portmanteau words that blend two words, but they're still compounds. I mean, an affixation is still a very effective strategy for making new words. The lessons in this session are not just about sounding out words, they're also about meaning, looking for the meaning in longer words. Like in the same way that an expert architect can see a structure inside a house, your students will see the structure inside longer words, like these Anglo-Saxon words. Like learning about the structure of Anglo-Saxon words, it's a stepping stone to the next level in phonics. So have fun.